Resorcio. Find, share, create.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, hi. I guess I'm visible now. Yes. Good evening, all. Welcome to yet another virtual summit being organized by Resorcio. I'm Anuradha, and I will be today's host. About Resorcio, you might as well know by now that Resorcio is a portal for all your virtual resource needs. And we have an immensely wide range of thousands upon thousands of resources lined up for you online in practically, I mean to say, hundreds of topics. And our resources range from HR activities to job descriptions, career prospects, soft skills, management, business studies, law, psychology, arts, languages, literature, software, various verticals of engineering, medicine, traditional medicine as well, hobbies, travel, tourism. So by now, you must have guessed that the list can go on, and we have them all online for you all. And the best part about Resorcio is that these resources are not there merely for you to browse through, read, or listen to. You can actually download them and use them in your various, as per your various requirements. For students, yes, these resources can be downloaded. The PPTs especially will come in handy for your presentations in schools and colleges. For professionals, we have a variety of resources in all formats, ranging from documents, PPTs, templates, designs that are bound to help you all in your presentations at office, or in generally motivating you and your team to do better. And for the general public, householders and others, we have lots more for you as well. For instance, a quick reference to a rental agreement or any other document or legal document that you might require, leave letters, bank application forms, and the like. We have all those also for you on Resorcio. So yes, in just over 3 months of its official launch, it's a great matter of pride for all of us to announce that we have had over 1.3 million users to our site. And we have more than 50,000 resources in our pool, and we are adding hundreds by the day, literally hundreds by the day. We look to grow more and to serve our users better. And in this endeavor, we have recently come up with conducting virtual summits. These virtual summits we plan to conduct to help a wider variety of users. They may be students, they may be professionals, they may be avid learners, they might be people who are looking to know more about our own culture and tradition. So the previous session that we had recently was aimed to help students understand the process of going abroad to study, the difficulties or the ease with which they might face situations out there, especially in the post-COVID scenario, and it was widely accepted and appreciated. And with that confidence, we move ahead to our next virtual summit, which is aimed to help professionals and students. Professionals who are looking for a career change, professionals who are looking to generally be interview prepared to face, to take up upgrades in their career, and to students, of course, who will be facing interviews and plunge into their chosen professional paths. And without any further delay, I would want to introduce our panelists of the session. Without further delay, I said, but just a second. We have a poll running over here. You might see it at the bottom of your screen. It's a quick poll. It'll hardly take you 5 seconds. I request all the attendees to take the poll. It'll help our panelists understand what you're looking for and address you all better. So now I move on with the session. I introduce you to today's panelists. We have Ms. Smita Nair all the way from UK with us, and we have Mr. Robbins joining us from Trivandrum. Smita Nair, our first speaker, comes with over 15 years of experience in recruiting and training candidates both in the service as well as product engineering companies. And she has worked across North America, the UK, as well as India, a diverse geographical spectrum to say. From startups to established global organizations, she has been associated closely in full cycle recruitments for a number of firms. This makes her the perfect person to help us understand what the HR looks for in candidates. She is, sorry. She is currently a recruiter for customer experience at Cisco and is based out of London. I now invite Smita to address us. Over to you, Smita.
Thank you, Anuradha. Very kind of you. Thanks for the introduction. Thank you, Resorcio team, for inviting me to this event. And thanks to each one of you who have joined this event. Yes, like she said, I come with 16, 17 years of experience in IT recruitment, mostly worked on the IT sector, was a part of small startup organizations, as well as IT giants like TCS or Accenture or Cisco. And with the 17 years, I've realized this is my true calling, or recruitment is something which I'm very passionate about. So when the Resorcio team approached me to be a talker, I am very thankful to them, because whatever I'm going to talk today, it's based on my experience. And if that is going to help you, I'm just going to give a few hints, few tips, I would say, which help you guys, maybe as a fresher, or maybe if you're changing your career, helps you to basically prepare how to sell yourself in the market or prepare for an interview. So let's start. I just have made this very small PPT. Let me share my screen. Are you all able to see, Anuradha? Just.
Yes, Smita, it's visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So I know that many of you are freshers, maybe out of college, or maybe experienced candidates who want to change your career, right? So if you are looking for someone to change your career, I would say the first thing is to basically discover what is that you want to do. Maybe you're at the age of 30 or 40, you have 10, 15 years of experience doing one profession, and you realize you want to change. It could be because of the pandemic, that you've lost the job, or anything, could be any reason. Or maybe you feel that your current job is so monotonous, you want to change, do something different. I would say is definitely take an inventory and see what is that you want to do. What is that you're passionate about? There are many times that, yes, at the age of 30, 40, you realize that this is not what I want to do. I want to change my stream. There's nothing wrong in that. Yes, do that. But identify that stream. And also, it's so important that you have to analyze your strength, your weakness, and what are the opportunities in the market for that particular career, whatever you want to move into, and what are the threats, right? It's so important that you analyze these 4 things. And now, if you are an HR person, you want to move to marketing, for example, or finance, or anything, maybe within HR, there are so many things. From recruitment, I want to move to core HR or operations. Yes, research on your career, like what are the opportunities, go through the JDs. You go to LinkedIn or anywhere and see, type JD for this particular job. And it's so important that you understand what is expected out of that job, right? So this is something first you have to do, identify what is that you want to, and now upgrade your skill. Yes, because you don't have any experience. So all you have to do is upgrade your skill. There's so many ample enough of things in the market, right? Like everything is in your fingertips, I would say, these days. Like you just have to browse and get everything. Like even Resorcio is one place where you can see a lot of stuff, right? There are so many places like that. But it's so important that you upgrade your skill. You want to move from HR to marketing, take up a course, take up a certification, or whatever. From it can be data, because data is something which is very hot in the market. You want take a certification or try to know, like gain as much as knowledge as you can. So it's so important that you upgrade your skill, and also take voluntary opportunities like experience. Maybe you might not get a job so easily. I know that it's not easy, but you get a lot of voluntary opportunities. There are so many small, mid-sized companies who are okay to take you as an intern, maybe without pay, but there are so many companies like that. Yes, you might have to make that sacrifice, work for a couple of months without pay, but still it is worth it. Just take as an investment on yourself. If you are looking for a career change, that's very important. Right. So these are two things which I would say definitely you have to do. And now you have to build your resume and the cover letter. So building your resume, I'll come to that in the next slide. And once you build your resume, the next stage is network. So it can be through LinkedIn is definitely one forum, but there are so many social channels through which you can network, and you have to brand yourself. So now, okay. Now coming to creating a resume. Resume is basically your biodata. So this is the first thing which a recruiter or your hiring manager get to see about yourself. Okay, so you have to make it short, you have to make it crisp, and you cannot afford to have any mistakes, especially grammar mistakes. I have seen so many people taking decision based on looking at your CV. I think the first decision is definitely based on your resume, nothing else, right? Be it a recruiter or a hiring manager, what they look for is, yes, there are basic things like your contact details has to be there. There has to be a career goal, work experience, key skills has to be mentioned. If you have got any honors or awards, even it's during your academic time, if you have got any appreciation, please mention that. Any course, any voluntary work, any certification you have taken, please, it's mandatory that you have to do that. And then your educational details. And especially for freshers, I would say, it's so important that you mention if you have done any extra work, like extra project, which is not a part of your curriculum, you have done anything on your own interest, please mention that. Because there are so many freshers in the market, like how do you stand apart, right? Because this is what they look for as a hiring manager or as a recruiter. How is that you're different from the rest of the world? That's what your resume talks about. So just mention these things. And I don't say it has to be, especially for freshers, don't make it a 2-page or 3-page or talk, write about your project in detail. No, it can be just 1 page. Yes, if you are an experienced person with 10 to 15 years of experience, there's no harm in having a 2-page resume. There's no hard and fast rule that it has to be 1 page, because even in here or in India, I've seen 2 and 3 pages. There's nothing wrong in that. But yes, mention all the points, especially your awards, your honors, appreciation, your certification, or any extra work which you have done. Definitely you have to. Okay, now you have a resume, but you have to brand yourself through social media also. It's so important. Now it is all digital recruitment, right? You get, those days are gone where somebody is going to send your CV through referrals or through job portals. No, everything is through, most of the hiring is done through LinkedIn. So it's so important that you have a LinkedIn profile. I see that even in India, there are so many people who don't have a LinkedIn. It's not something new. There's so many people actually who don't have LinkedIn, even senior folks. But in abroad, I see that as LinkedIn is the most powerful tool which is used for recruitment. If you don't have a LinkedIn resume, I don't think it's acceptable. I mean, you cannot have. So then they think, okay, there's something wrong with this person. Maybe he's not social. How come he doesn't want to be in the social world? Right? So you have to have a LinkedIn resume and make it impressive. There's no point in just having a LinkedIn, because there are sometimes I've seen you have a LinkedIn resume, but there's no data. Just have the name and the current company name. That's it. There are so many. I'm talking about senior people also. There are so many people like that. But no, LinkedIn is so important, because these days when a hiring manager gets your CV, most of them go to LinkedIn and see, especially if it is a senior person, definitely they want to see what the LinkedIn talks about, because that's where it's important you have a picture, because, and that too a professional picture, it is important. Okay. And it's important that you create your headline very appealing. When I say headline, normally people write the designation. Yeah, even I have written saying that CX, the recruiter for CX Cisco. But yes, you can be more creative and write, make it more appealing. If not, at least mention your designation. Then coming to the summary. I have seen people writing same like in resume, they write a big paragraph about each work experience or the summary when it comes to summary itself, like a one pager. No, it can be just a very short paragraph about what you have done in the past, what is your achievement, and what is that you're passionate about. These three things, if you can make in a very short paragraph, that is about your summary. And now coming to your experience, maybe you worked with one company or two companies, three companies, mention the company, the tenure, and highlight your accomplishment in each job. What is that you have done? For example, if I, as a recruiter, I have hired 100 people in a month of 6 months, or I have scaled up a team from 0 to 100 people in a span of 6 months, could be anything. Whatever you have achieved in that job, mention that. And for fresher, you don't have to mention the work experience, but you can put your certifications, you can put your voluntary work, any extra projects which you have done, you can mention that. And it is very important, you have to get recommendation. See, even freshers, you can get from your professors or from your HODs or from your colleagues, anybody. But for experienced people, it's very important because it is not very easy to get recommendation in LinkedIn, trust me, because people think twice. Like even for me, if somebody sends to me, I think twice, and it has to be very honest. People don't write, I mean, because it's something which is seen by anybody, everybody, right? So it's not very easy to get recommendation. And if you get recommendation, yes, there is a value, definitely. It adds a lot of value to your profile. So try to get, if you have worked under a manager, even maybe a project as a fresher you have done, get the recommendation, try to get it from your mentor or manager, whoever it is. Okay, so now you have created the LinkedIn. It is important that you have to keep the page active. So how to keep the page active is you can get connected to people, you can post something, you can write things, you can publish, like even if it's something, an article which you found somewhere, you can put it in your page, you can share it. Because when you keep the LinkedIn active, you're reaching out to more and more people, right? You're catching the attention of the people within your group. Maybe it's only within your network can see, but still, right? So that's a way of selling yourself. Okay. Now, LinkedIn is one way, which I said. Now, you have your resume, you have your LinkedIn resume, LinkedIn profile. Now, the next thing is to reach out to people, right? So nobody is going to, when you are a fresher or if you're looking for a career change, I don't think people is going to come to you looking for, because there are ample enough of people in the market, right? So it's your responsibility to reach out to reach out to hiring managers or recruiters or organizations. There's no harm, there's no shame in reaching out to, even to the CEOs, I would say, because I'm honored to that I could work with 3 CEOs in my 16 years of experience. And I would say there are so many positions which I've closed. I've got reference from the CEOs, and these are people not known their contacts. They have reached out to them through LinkedIn with a covering letter, and the CEO was so impressed and forwarded to me saying that take it up, it looks good. The CV looks good, or I think the person is very passionate. So it's something which is very common, and nobody is going to reject you because you have reached out to the CEO or the hiring manager or the directors. No, there's nothing wrong in that. So even if you're a fresher, if you think that you are good for that job, you have the right skill, there's no shame in writing, approaching the hiring manager or anybody, even a recruiter, whoever it is. Right? So just connect it to maximum people. If you know that, okay, this company, Wipro, is hiring on this particular skill set, go to Google, find out who are the people working in that. Maybe it's in your networks, there are people, maybe not in your networks. Reach out to people and ask them if they can refer. Because I know that Amazon actually reference give a lot of weightage. So there are people who reached out through LinkedIn in Amazon, who are working in Amazon. They reach out to people who are working in Amazon asking, can you refer? And many of them do that. Many of them do. They don't even know, but still they do that. So reach out to maximum people, connect, connect, connect. I would say that's all you can do till you get a job. Don't give up, connect to people, do networking and brand yourself. Now, yes, you have done all this. You have got an interview call. Now, how you're going to face the interview, right? So the first thing, now it's all virtual, right? There is no physical thing. There's all virtual over a Zoom or a Teams or a WebEx, the interview is scheduled. But it's so important that you dress up professionally because you think that, okay, fine, it's going to be a virtual. No, because there's so many cases, there's so many managers uh, have come and told me that the person, he was okay, but the person dressed up came in a hoodie or a sweater or a t-shirt, right? Because that's the impression that you make. They think that the person is not very serious or very casual about it. So it's so important that, you dress up professionally. Be it whatever the interview, be the first round, second round, it could be the HR round of interview, whatever it is, it's so important that you be presentable and dress up professionally. And yes, you have to, when you introduce yourself with confidence. And I would always say, even all the freshers who approach me to give them the tips, I always say, create a draft about what you're going to talk, right? So don't think that, okay, don't be so overconfident that, okay, I can just go there and talk. No, maybe because you get nervous, you never know, right? So just prepare a draft, stand in front of a mirror, practice, 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 because the first 5 to 10 minutes is when you create that impression in the interviewer, right? And it's so important that you create a very positive, good impression in that first 10 minutes, because from there, most of the people in 10-15 minutes, they decide, okay, should I hire this person? Should I continue the interview? Is it worth spending money on, time on this person, right? So just, it's so important. And the first question is going to be, talk about yourself or take me through your CV, right? That's something which everybody is going to, right? So prepare to give a very good introduction about yourself, even if it has to write and mug up. I would say just do that and say that with confidence. And when you go for the interview, just go through the JD couple of times, understand what is the expectation from this job. And it is also important to know the organization. I'm not saying that you have to know what is the revenue, what is the headcount. No, maybe not to that level, but at least what do they do? What is the nature of business? So who are the top people? Just go to LinkedIn and search a little bit. Okay, who are the founders? Who are the top people? And how many people? Where do they have presence across the globe? There's so many things, the basic things actually, because um, I'm not saying that all the managers would ask you that, but there are so many people who still ask, even be it in India or globe, they ask, what do you know about us? Okay, that's just to see that if you are prepared. So it's so important, the job description, what is expected, and about the organization so well. And when you give answer the questions, I always say use real world examples from your life, whatever question it is. So I'll come to that actually in the next slide, but try to be very honest and give from your experience, whatever answers, real time examples. And yes, now every interview at the end, towards the end, after the interview is done, the interviewer would definitely ask, do you have any questions? That's a very standard thing. Everybody is going to ask. So be prepared for this, and you should have a couple of questions. Yes, but don't ask questions for the sake of it. Don't ask questions like, okay, what is the role? What is it expected out of me? And or do there on-site? Is there any on-site opportunity? No, don't. So ask positive questions like because it's expected. I mean, you are expected to know about the role, right? So there's no point in asking them again. Okay, what is expected out of me, right? So ask genuine questions like, okay, how many members in the team? How big is the team? Is there a global presence? My role will be restricted to what, or what is going to be the career growth for me down the line? You can ask. So let it be genuine. You think about it and then ask questions. It can be about the organization or anything, but be prepared to ask a few questions. And Yes, be confident and express your passion and desire to join the company. It's so important that uh, because these days, everybody look for people who are very passionate about the job. They don't want a passive candidate. They all want an active candidate, actually, who is interested to join them. If made an offer, yes, this guy will join. Why? Why should he join? And why is that he's passionate about this job? So during your conversation, so give them that confidence that I am looking for this job. I am passionate about doing this. So build up that confidence in that half an hour or 1 hour of conversation with the hiring manager. Now, okay, this is the last slide. So I'll give you a little bit talk about this slide because this time, I think now everybody is moving to situation-based interview or competency-based interview, be it in India or across the globe. Okay, and any position for that matter is starting from the fresher till the leadership. If you look at the interview process, it's all based on situation-based questions or competency-based questions. So when a JD is created, it could be anything, a marketing or HR or finance. When a JD is created, a job description is created, there is a certain competency which they are looking for that particular JD or for that person. If it's a recruiter, they might be looking for somebody who's very good in stakeholder management, somebody who's good in taking decisions. It varies actually from one job. Maybe for a project manager, they look for certain kind of competencies. Maybe for the sales guys, it's different. So each role has a set of competency, right? It's basically the traits, what they look for. And the questions are based on those traits. When I say the questions, they are going to ask you they're not going to ask you any closed questions. There are days, I remember when we were giving interviews in our college days, it was very common to ask, what is your strength? What is your weakness? Where do you want to see yourself down the line after 5 years, right? I think now these days, I don't think those questions are asked. No, not many interviewers actually, no, because it's very easy to, bluff those. People know that it's very easy to, you come prepared and say that I'm very hardworking, I'm very flexible, I have a good attitude. Anybody can say that, right? So that is why they're asking these kind of questions where they are going to ask from your past behavior, because it is proven that your past behavior is the best indicator of your future performance. So like how you did in the past, that's how you're going to do to great extent in the future, right? So like if they ask you, for example, conflict management, that is something which I think most of the job, they want people who are very good in conflict management, right? So they're going to ask you, maybe tell me tell me last time when you had resolved a conflict, you had faced a conflict within your team, and what did you do about it, right? That's when you have to think, you have to talk from your real time. So the good part with is that you cannot bluff until and unless you have a situation. It is very difficult to cook up a story and then say that's the whole idea of this kind of an interview. So everything is from your past. They will say, okay, tell me a situation. You had a very challenging, tell me a time when you have faced challenge in your workplace and how did you solve it, right? Tell me a time when you have influenced a person in your team. What did you do about it, right? And if you haven't done it, just say that I haven't done it. I would say don't cook up story. Maybe it influencing for somebody like a fresher, you might not have done that. You say that, no, I can't think of anything like that. There's no, be honest, there's no, you don't have to cook up. But otherwise, if you have, but be prepared for these kind of questions. Like or everything is based on competencies. Everything is going to be from your past experience. So you prepare, okay, if there is a conflict management thing from, it can be from the college days. Maybe this is asked to a fresher, right? So you will have conflict when with your colleagues or with your friends. You were a part of an event management team and there were people with different opinion, and how did you solve that? Right? There was a conflict and how did you solve that? And all these questions have to be answered in a STAR method. When a STAR, what do you mean by STAR? So it's like situation, task, action, and result. Okay. So when you say, if, for example, the same conflict management, they're asking, how did you tell me about a time you had a conflict and how did you solve that? So you're going to say from your life, there was a conflict. This is the situation. Yes, I had a conflict and this was a situation. Explain that situation. And next is, what did you do about it? That is going to be the action. Like I, as a person, I intervene, I did this, that, okay? So that is the action. And then what is the result? Okay, and as a part of that, yes, we solved that and it worked out and everything was smooth at the end. Yes, it has to be a positive result. So anytime you answer these kind of questions in your mind, you should think it has to be in a star way. Yes, there has a situation, there is an action which I've done, and there is a result also. Because I know these days, for example, I would say Facebook or Amazon, all these companies, for example, Facebook would tell you before the interview, these are the competencies on which I'm going to assess you. And it's not a surprise. They will tell you much before the interview, maybe a couple of days. They give you time to prepare also. But you think it's very easy. Okay, these three things, these are the three questions. No, but they can, when you start talking, they probe you more and try to see if you are genuine. How did you do that? And based on that, they take a decision. So actually, it's not an easy way. Actually, it is difficult. When you start doing that, you realize that when you start attending the interview, these kind of interviews, you realize it's because there is not a particular answer for that, right? It's just that you can say in the best way, but there is no perfect answer for that. It all depends on how you convince the candidate that, convince the interview panel that, yes, there was a situation, this is what I did, and this is the outcome, right? So that's how you have to answer this competency, and competencies can be anything: conflict management, decision making, leadership, communication, problem solving, anything. It could be anything. But the one thing which I can say is prepare on that, prepare to face these kind of interviews, because every company, you name it, is moving to this kind of a process where all the interviewers are trained in that. And most of the companies like TCS and all, you have to get certified. Actually, if you are in the interview panel, be it a recruiter or a hiring manager, they train you, and it's like a 6 months course. You get trained, and then you have to write exam and get the certification also. So they will be very master in that. So it's not easy to, I would say, to fool them, cook up a story, and you think, okay, I will think about some story and then answer it. No. So this is what every company is approaching. So I'm just want to give you an awareness that prepare, when you prepare for an interview, be prepared for this, to answer in a star method. Yes, that's all from my end. And yes, I know that we have a question answer session. We can move into that. Feel free to ask any questions, because whatever I have learned, these are a few tips which I have given. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Whatever I know, yes, I'm very happy to share with you.
Thank you, Smita. It was quite a well-rounded perspective, which will help our attendees, I'm sure, in being interview prepared. And I want to remind those who have joined it a bit late that today's session will be put up on our YouTube channel. In case you haven't subscribed to it, please do. Resorcio is available on YouTube. We are also available on Instagram and Facebook. And if you have any further questions, you might direct them to contact at Resorcio. We'll see and we'll try our best to get you your answers. And all the best for everything that you have to do in future. And we have many more sessions planned and lined up. Watch our space, and we'll let you know soon what the next session that's coming up this month is. Thank you. Thank you, Smita. Thank you, Robbins.
Resorcio, an online bazaar where you can find, share, and create resources. Looking for the perfect slide deck to ace a presentation? Need smart templates to get an edge at work? Log in to resorcio.com. On Resorcio, you can find content about nearly every topic under the sun. You can also create and upload content in your area of expertise. From PowerPoints and PDFs to templates and audio, you'll find multiple formats on Resorcio. We're also multilingual, so you have more options at your fingertips. Once you log in, you'll get a bag full of lumens, our virtual currency. With this, you can buy the resources of your choice and get started. Buy, sell, and share resources at Resorcio, the online bazaar. Start resourcing today. Resorcio. Find, share, create.